shade of the palms where the big river flows, and the sweet-scented lily of Egypt land grows, lived Yassin the elephant, enormous and gray, who managed to stumble 3 times every day. His ears were like blankets, his trunk was a hose, but he couldn't quite tell where his giant feet goes. When he walked through the village or down to the bank, the pottery shattered and fences all sank. I'm a mountain of trouble, Yassin would lament, as he looked at a basket that he'd accidentally bent. I try to be careful, I try to be light, but I trip on a pebble from morning till night. I stepped on a melon, I knocked down a gate. I'm simply too clumsy for my heavy weight. The gazelles would all giggle, the monkeys would stare, as Yassin sent dust clouds into the air. He tried to walk softly on the tips of his toes, but he'd bump into trees with the end of his nose. He stayed far away from the market day stalls for fear of collapsing the brick-cluttered walls. I live in the desert, Yassin told a bird, where nothing can break and no crashing is heard. I'm a hazard to dishes, a danger to pans. I'm ruining everyone's afternoon plans. But then came a day when a wagon got stuck in a ditch full of boulders and slippery muck. It was filled with the harvest, the grain and the fruit, and the wheels were all buried right down to the root. The horses were pulling and the donkeys were strained, but the heavy old wagon just firmly remained. We need someone strong, cried the mayor of the town, before all this harvest is trampled on down. Yassin approached with a shy, heavy stride, with his big floppy ears tucked close to his side. I might be a fumbler, I might be a mess, but I'll give it a try, I suppose I confess. He wrapped his long trunk around the axle of wood and planted his feet as a giant beast should. He didn't trip over, he didn't even slide, as he felt a great power beginning inside. With a heave and a hoe and a thunderous roar, he lifted that wagon right up from the floor. He carried it safely to the top of the hill with a delicate touch and a marvelous skill. The people all cheered and the children all sang, all the bells of the village remarkably rang. He isn't just clumsy, a fruit seller cried. He's a hero with greatness and glory inside. And Yassin realized that with a shake of his head, that he didn't need grace for could be great instead. His size was a blessing, his strength was enough when there was a heavy thight burden to lift. He still knocks over buckets and stumbles on stones, but he doesn't respond with his unhappy moans. He knows that his feet, though they're big and they're wide, are the pillars of help for the people inside. Now Yassin is the rescue king of the Nile, with the trunk waving wave and a giant-sized smile. He hopes with the building he clears up the way, and he doesn't mind tripping at the end of the day. He teaches the calf that it's okay to be large, and it's okay to sometimes be fully in charge. For a stumble is nothing, a crash is just sound when you're the most helpful beast on the ground. So if you hear thumping or a clatter of tin, or a fence that is leaning a little bit in, it's probably Yassin, the strong and the kind, with the biggest of hearts that you ever will find. He's clumsy and heavy and happy and free, the sturdiest elephant there ever could be. He's found his own rhythm, his purpose and grace, in the middle of Egypt, his favorite place.